Hey guys, welcome back to another video. As you can tell, I'm not wearing anything like a suit. I'm not wearing a polo with anything branded on it. And that's because today I want to come to you guys as a local Midtown neighbor, just a guy giving you advice because I just passed my 1-year mark of living in Midtown, and I'm a big advocate of the School of Hard Knocks. It's one of the best ways I like to learn in life, apparently. And I've definitely had some rough times living here, and I've had some great times living here. And I want you guys to be put on some knowledge before you guys come to Midtown. I know a lot of you are looking out there, and you probably live in the Atlanta area, and you'll probably resonate with some of the things that I'm telling you here. And if you guys are out of state, this is how Atlanta works some of the time. So just listen to the video. I promise you guys will actually find these tips pretty helpful. But without further ado, let's get into the video and see what we can learn. Okay, starting off with number one, and this might be a little controversial, but I would say either get a car or get a bike or get an e-scooter or an e-bike. And when I originally wrote this, I said just get a car. You're gonna need a car. And I had a good reasoning. You'll hear it later. But then I thought about it. I knew this is really controversial. A lot of people, whether you go on the internet or not, and are actually looking into what people are saying about Midtown, a lot of people are really unnerved by the fact that there are so many complexes being built here with a lot of parking garages. A lot of people are very concerned about traffic that will be driven to the city as a lot more people move in and a lot more of these developments go up. So I thought about it a little bit, and I really do agree with that, especially being here. And I agree with it in the sense that it is truly a logical thing to not just have a car. It's not just from an ethical sense. It is pretty logical at points, because there are a lot of places just outside of Atlanta, and specifically Midtown itself, that don't really make sense to drive to. Somewhere like Ponce is a really good place. Atlantic Station, West Midtown, and even downtown are really places that are kind of too far to walk or run. You obviously could do it, but in a hot Georgia day and you need to be somewhere and actually look good, you're not going to really want to just haul 3 miles in the 90-degree weather. It's not going to be fun. You're not going to be showing up looking like your best. And getting into a car can also be kind of annoying, whether you're having to deal with parking, which is really the biggest annoyance for it, or dealing with something just like, going through the hassle of getting your car just to go over such a short distance. It really sometimes doesn't make sense. So there really are, and quite frequently are, these in-between spots that you're going to find yourself going to, because not everybody you know is going to live in Midtown. You're not going to always want to go to places like Whole Foods or Publix. You're going to want to be going to even restaurants and other attractions outside of Midtown that you're going to want to go to that's too short to drive and too far to walk, if you can understand what I'm saying. So something like an e-bike or an electric scooter are perfect for this. They make it, somewhere where you can kind of get out, kind of see the people, and kind of feel like you're still in the city, and not locked away in a cage in a car. But you're also getting there efficiently. You're getting there easily. You're not really breaking a sweat. And for me, I used to just grab one of these and run to Pond City Market, just do the 5K and run down the belt line. But that's not everybody's forte, so I definitely recommend getting something along those 3 items. But I would honestly still to this moment stick by just getting a car. I know, for everybody that's watching that lives here, the thing is, even though there are these close areas and you could get to them on something like a bicycle or a scooter, you're going to meet a lot of people outside of the city itself. A lot of people in Atlanta are going to live outside the city, and there's just a lot of things to go see right outside of Midtown, and there's no feasible way you're going to make a haul 20 miles away on an e-bike. You could, but it really would not be that fun. And getting a car is something that allows you to reach out, allows you to get out there, and it's something that I think I couldn't really live without. Now, I'm an Atlanta native. We drive everywhere. If you're somewhere from like New York or something, somewhere from a very dense city where there's good public transportation, you might not already have this preconception that you need a car. But as someone living in Atlanta, I've lived in Atlanta my whole life, I really could not fathom not having a car in the city. And it's not really because of the culture of Atlanta. It's more so the public transportation is still not in a state where you can just easily go anywhere and everywhere on foot or on a bike. It's just not at that level right now. And just to get around the city, you might get here and for a few months, if you don't know anybody, say, oh, that's great. But as you start to meet people and as you start to look outside of Midtown itself to do other things, you're going to be going, I think I need a car. So it's definitely something that I would have, checked off the list if you're moving here, even thinking about it. You don't necessarily have to do it. I'm not telling anybody that you have to do this, but definitely take into consideration if you're thinking about moving here and you're out of state. If you're in state, you probably already know. If you're from anywhere in the Atlanta area and you're thinking about moving to Midtown, you already know this. I don't have to tell you. But if you're out of state, this is something you should definitely take into consideration. All right, so for number 2, and I think this is super important, this is something that I did not do. Even being an Atlanta native, I did not do this when I first moved here, and it sucked. It was terrible. And that is to go out and immediately start meeting people. When I first got here, I was like, I'm paying all this money. I live in this nice apartment, and we have all these amenities, all these things, and I'm not meeting anybody. There's no one to do anything with because none of my friends want to come down from the suburbs, and I don't know anybody in Midtown, so I'm just sitting here in this nice place with all these people around, feeling kind of lonely at times when I first got here. And I didn't go to my apartment. They have all these twice a month. They usually have these little get-togethers just to meet the residents around. And they're actually really cool. But when I first came here, I didn't do that. And I really regret it. And I really didn't do too much either networking or just meeting people in general. And I truly regret it. So I would say look up some clubs, look up some hobbies that you would actually like here. Meetup.com is a good one. If you're looking for something free, I pulled these out before. But I really like the Atlanta Run Club, not to be confused with the Atlanta Track Club. The Atlanta Run Club is an awesome little club. It's completely free. They meet 3 days a week. It's going to suck. You're going to suffer together with people, but that's the best way to bond. And the reason I started doing it was because it was free 99, baby. When I got here, I was like, I'm dead broke. I have no money. And that's actually a very enjoyable club. I've never used to run in my life. So if any of you guys in that same boat, I was right there with you, and I actually met a lot of people there. It's a very active club. A lot of people do it, and I think it's awesome. We even have a meeting today. They do it 3 days a week, Monday, Thursday, Saturday. And, if you're not too skilled, don't worry. I wasn't either. I wasn't some marathon trainer when I first did it. So it's a great way, but I would implore you, whatever you do, whether you bike, whether you do active stuff, whether you want to do something passive, whether you want to do something business related even, there's an avenue for each and every single thing here, and I would recommend everybody do it. Obviously there's free things and there's paid things, but I just went ahead with the free things, and we're gonna roll into why in the next reason. But I went with all the free things, and I wouldn't pass it up for anything. I just wish I did it sooner. So when you get here, please, please, please go meet people. If you want to meet me, I'll be there today, the Atlanta Track Club. I don't know if too many people are going to watch that by the time that starts today, but it is an excellent place to go, and it's a great way to meet people for free, but there's a lot of other things. So get onto it, get out there, meet people. You live in the city for a reason. Number 3, and I don't want you guys to think I'm coming at you like a life coach. I don't want you guys to think I'm coming as one of these hustler kind of people that are telling you to work. Now that's a great mindset to have, and that's what was instilled in me when I lived here. But when you do come here, definitely make sure you have the budget to live here. A lot of people are younger like me, and they just dive in head first into Midtown. They say, I can pretty much afford that apartment. Let's sign, because most of these apartments, you need a month notice, and that's it. You don't even really need 3 months rent. You can just dive in for a lot of these places. And a lot of us do that, me included. I think the first month I had a closing where I made just over 3 times the rent. I just sent it, and I moved right in here. And I don't regret it, but it was a little rough. It definitely pushed me a little bit harder, and maybe that's something you want in life, but I would say it did kind of suck, because if you have money and you live here and you don't have money and you live here, obviously people are going to say that's the same everywhere, but it's a little more so when you're living here than if you're living somewhere out and maybe one of the lesser populated areas. Maybe if you're living out like Duluth or Beaufort, it's a little bit cheaper than here and you won't feel the sting as much. But when you are here and you're not budgeting accordingly to be able to actually enjoy stuff, you are living a completely different life. And let me tell you firsthand, it sucks. You don't want to be living here, and you don't want to be feeling like you're the only one not making money, because that's how it will feel like. Now, maybe you'll meet some people that are going through the struggle with you, but there's also a lot of people making really good money here. They have good office jobs, they have finance jobs, law jobs, things like that, tech jobs. You got the Google building literally right in front of me right here. And you're going to sit there and you're going to feel like you're the only person without money. And it's going to suck. So definitely, if you are coming here, I'm keeping it real with you guys. It's going to feel like that. That's how I felt, at least. So if you do come here, make sure you got the budget so you're not balling on a budget like I was, because you will feel lonely. It will suck. And you'll feel like everybody else is out enjoying things while you're sitting inside. Hustling. Maybe that's just how it is being in your 20s, but that's really how I felt until I got on my feet and I actually started to do business here, and it actually started to go well. Those first few months were lonely. They were a grind. They were tough. So I want you guys to be able to at least avoid that, so you actually feel like Midtown is a great place and you can enjoy it. So a little intermission here. That is the other side of my closet door. If you walk through my apartment like this, my cat is up here. I saw her. She's like in the background scratching on the door over there because she can't get out. But she could get out. She just didn't go through the right door. So she's A-okay. I don't lock my cat in the closet for these videos. And let's get back to number 4. Right, so we're going to get into the issue of whether Midtown's safe. And I want to be as objective about this as possible and just present you guys with the facts. This is actually going to be anecdotal largely. I'm not going to pull out a stat book because I don't think I can as a real estate agent. But anecdotally, I have never had a problem living in Midtown. I've never known anybody to have a problem living in Midtown. And this is under the one caveat that I know a lot of you guys have seen, because you probably watched the videos. If you look up Midtown, you're going to get things of the shooting. Right across the street right here is literally the building that it happened in. I'm not kidding you. It is literally the building that happened, and it is an extremely unfortunate situation of what happened. But I will say this, is that one-off situations like this can happen everywhere. With one example being my mom, who lives in Dunwoody, a place that's most people would revere as a very, very safe place. It's literally across the street from Dunwoody Country Club, the Kroger there. She went there right after someone had been shot, and unfortunately, one of the 2 people that had been shot passed away. And that is something that you would often freak out about and think you would see that headline in something like an urban center. But no, it happened up in the suburbs in one of the nicest areas, literally across the street from a country club. So I think these crazy situations can happen anywhere. And in that regard, whatever your stance on this is, Georgia does give you a lot of freedom in the regard of weapons and the regard of guns, to be able to purchase one and carry it and not need a permit and be able to protect yourself in that manner. Not everybody's going to feel like that. Not everybody's going to want to do that. Some people will carry nothing. Some people will only carry mace. Some people might carry a physical melee weapon. I don't know what your stance is. I can't say this for everybody. That's on you to think about. Obviously, these one-off situations happen. And if you're going out at night a lot, maybe you would want to think about something like this and prepare yourself for something that could happen, because crime of opportunity certainly happens. If you're a hulking mass of a man, you just look like a certified badass, like you got the sailor's tat, you bench 315 and you look like you bench it, probably no one's going to mess with you at 3 a.m. versus, some girl who's 100 pounds and 5'1". You got to be somewhat self-aware of who you are and what situations you're getting yourself into. I've personally walked down the street plenty of times at 3 a.m. Never had a problem, whether I'm going home from buddies and having a few drinks with them, or just, riding Marta back from someone's house, or coming back from the airport and, gone to the street or grabbed a pizza somewhere and came back on the way to Midtown and get some food. I've never had something happen, whether I'm in my car or whether I'm walking. I've never had anything happen. So, take anecdotal evidence with a grain of salt. But obviously, I've lived here over a year. I've never had a problem. Most people I know have never had a problem either. Never even had a problem with petty theft. Most people, same thing. And you can look at the statistics, but also just, maybe talk to a few people that live here. But if you don't know anybody that lives here, I'm telling you as your best friend, I think it's safe, and people will argue with me, and people will have very solidified opinions about this. I think it's a great place. I don't think there's anything to worry about. So take that with what you will, but let's move on to number 5. Okay, so to get in the fun part, this is where I have a very adamant opinion, but I won't get to it till the end. Number 5, reasons to take MARTA around that I think are super helpful. I kind of knew this before I lived in Midtown, but I want you guys to know this because there are reasons to ride MARTA, and they're really good reasons. So starting off with number 1, if you're going to work in Buckhead and live in Midtown, Midtown's a lot better to live in Buckhead, let me tell you that. You know, I know I'm coming as someone who lives here, not a realtor, but as your real estate agent, live in Midtown. Don't live in Buckhead. It sucks. That being said, it is a great way to be able to commute up if you work anywhere in close proximity to the MARTA station, anywhere just in generality of the Lenox area. That is because Buford Highway, which connects up to 400 and 85 and 400, gets really stopped up a lot of days, especially around 9 a.m. And 400 in general, that's where it cuts off of 85 and goes into Buckhead, is just loaded with traffic pretty much all the time. Any time around rush hour time. So to cut all that out, just ride the MARTA up to Buckhead. It'll be a lot easier. If you're going to Perimeter Mall, it's also super easy. Just jump off of the Dunwoody station. If you're working at somewhere like Northside Hospital, also super easy. Just jump off in the medical center and roll from there. Anywhere else, sports games. Somewhere like if you're going to see an Atlanta United game, a Falcons game, or a Hawks game, all are really close to MARTA. And if you live in Midtown, it's super easy just to jump down there and jump from a MARTA station, go in there. You're not going to feel like a weirdo. Pretty much most people do that anyway. And they're going to come over to 5 Points and then come up north into Midtown from there. And it honestly beats the hell out of the traffic. I think it's a worse option to use Uber there. Obviously, it's more expensive, but I just think it's more annoying. Besides the air conditioning, you're just sitting in traffic a lot more. But here's my most valiant and most defended, most adamant position I will ever take on MARTA, and that is you should always ride MARTA unless you have some smoking date and he or she is at the airport and you want to pick them up. You should ride MARTA to the freaking airport. It makes 0 sense. I mean, absolutely 0 sense for someone to pick you up, for someone to take an Uber, for someone to do anything but ride MARTA, because it is so much more expensive. From Midtown, and this is a close place to the airport. This isn't far away. Not somewhere like Alpharetta or Snellville or Lawrenceville or Dallas. Not these crazy far places away. And it's still $30 one way. One way. So it's $60 round trip to take an Uber to the airport. You got to wait through traffic. You got to wait through the queues at the airport. And you got to sit in line and eventually get dropped off and get all your crap out of a trunk and go in from there. At MARTA, it literally goes straight into the airport. It costs $5. 5 versus 60. Think about that. And with MARTA, you just hop on the train, you go there. There's a lot of other people doing literally the same thing, and you go straight to the airport. I, for the love of God, do not realize why people won't just take the train to the airport. They think they're going to die on the train or something. And just like I said before about Midtown being safe, so many people think it's just this like holistically dangerous war zone down here. And they're just paying all this money to avoid it. And I think it's crazy when you could just take the train, go to the airport, and you go right in there. It's like the most convenient thing ever to do, and it's super easy. You're going to save yourself a ton of money, and you should always take MARTA to the airport unless you have some very specific reason not to. That being said, if you guys argue me about that in the comments, I will defend my position. Alrighty guys, thank you so much for staying till the end of the video. It truly means a lot to me when you guys stay till the end. I love looking through the little statistics and seeing that everybody has enjoyed the video and watched it thoroughly. That being said, I know I'm coming to you guys today as your best friend living in Midtown, but as your real estate agent, if you guys are thinking about buying or selling, I would love to be the conduit to help you guys out through that process and make it a breeze for you guys when that day does come. That being said, I'm glad you guys, again, stayed till the end of the video, and until the next one next week, have a good one, everyone.